So when I did say I was going to bring back podcast style videos onto the main channel, I didn't just mean I was going to do it about the NBA and the playoffs or game recaps and stuff like that. I also meant I was going to do it for like draft stuff as well. Obviously, as you read the title, today's video will be about Auburn point guard Sharife Cooper. I think that people are overthinking him a bit, and I will talk about that. So expect more videos like this about the draft as well. Just kind of me just throwing a picture up and kind of just talking and giving you my thoughts. So why do I think people are overthinking Sharife Cooper? That was a tongue twister, I think. Well, let's talk about what I think about Sharife Cooper. Sharife Cooper, to me, is one of the better players in this draft. He is number 7 on my board right now, which is a part of that third tier behind the first two big tiers in this draft. With Cade Cunningham being in that first tier, Evan Mobley and Jalen Green being in that second tier, and he is a part of that third tier of those top 10 guys. You know, he's in a tier with Jalen Suggs, Jaden Springer, Josh Giddey, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, and Keon Johnson for me. I'm not going to say the order. I'm not going to say if I put that in order or not, but he's in the tier with those guys I named. Which is a lot higher, I know, than most people will probably have him. I know I'm not the highest on him. I definitely know people that have him higher, but I think a lot of people are lower. The 11 to like 18 range is where he is mostly slotted. I will say, like, late lottery, mid first round, like, I think it's perfectly fair for him. I know not everyone's going to be as high on him as I am, but really, I've seen some people have him like super low, like outside of the top 20, which doesn't make sense to me. Because when you look at Sharife Cooper and you look at what he does, there are too many things that he does that are positive that you just can't teach for him to be ranked outside the top 20, in my opinion. The passing playmaking obviously being the big one. His ability to manipulate defenses, his ability to read the floor, throw accurate passes, things like that, the handle even. Like, there are so many things that he does, like the feel for the game, that you just can't teach that he has. And when you have that many things, you're going to rank towards the top of the draft, in my opinion. And I know he does have flaws, and I will address his flaws. I addressed them in the video, because even though I think when I made that prospect profile video on him, I think I had him in like the 15 to 20 range, I want to say, on my board at the time. He's definitely moved up just based off the more I watch him. But even though like the draft range is probably higher compared to where I had him at in my prospect profile video, I do think that a lot of the flaws are still the same. His size obviously being a big one. I think I might have said something about his defense that I don't think is true now. But other than that, like the size being a problem because he will get targeted on defense. I said something about his effort on defense that I don't think. I still think it's true now, but I think I probably thought it at the time. And I thought that his 3-point shooting needed work as well. And both those things still remain true. I will say about the size, yes, on defense, that's still a problem. Even though I think he gives more effort than probably giving credit for, he does seem to be smart on that end of the floor as well. He's really good at drawing offensive fouls. I've noticed that. He's also somebody that can get steals, get deflections. He seems to play the passing lanes pretty well, I would say. But other than that, like, yeah, the size is going to be a problem. He is only 6'1" with a pretty average wingspan. So that will be a problem. However, the shooting thing, I think people are overstating it a bit. And the reason why I think people are overstating it is, first of all, it's not like he's a non-shooter. He took almost 5 3-point attempts per game this season at Auburn. That tells me that he's confident as a shooter. He's not afraid to shoot the basketball. Even if it doesn't go in all the time, trust me, it didn't. Go through his game log. 1 for 7 from 3 against Alabama. 0 for 4 for 3 against Georgia. Over 5 for 3 against Kentucky. 2 for 6 against Arkansas. 2 for 3 against South Carolina. That's actually pretty good. 0 for 2 against Missouri. 1 for 5 against Baylor. 1 for 2 against Georgia. 3 for 8 against Ole Miss. 1 for 3 against Vanderbilt. 2 for 8 against Kentucky again. And 0 for 4 against LSU. So yeah, I do think that there is like he's not making his threes, obviously. But I do think the fact that he's willing to take a lot of them is a good sign. Now, that also might be bad shot selection as well. I definitely think that there are elements of bad shot selection in there. But the fact that he's not afraid to shoot tells me that you can't leave him open. Because no matter how bad a shooter is, if you leave them open, they can hit an open jumper. Like, I think, like, that's the reason with Ben Simmons, which I probably talked about in another video, was the big problem with him is you can leave him open. You can put him on island in the corner. I don't think you could do that with Sharife Cooper. You can't leave him on an island as a shooter. Like, yeah, they'll probably dare him to shoot, but he'll take them. And if you give someone an open shot, they can make it. And I think Sharife Cooper at least fits the baseline of you can't leave him open. So that's one reason why I'm not as, like, worried about the shooting. Secondly, you know, he has seemed to work on his form. The form was a big reason why he wasn't a good shooter, at least percentage-wise. And I think that, you know, he has worked on his form, and he has tweaked his form, and it has gotten better. So I definitely think that's an encouraging sign. And third, why I'm somewhat encouraged that he has a chance to be a good shooter, even though he wasn't a good one in college, is his free throw shooting. I'm struggling with my words again. He's got 82.5% from the free throw line on 8.6 attempts. That's a very encouraging sign as a shooter. So again, while he's not a good shooter now, he will need to work on it. He will need to improve it in a game form, because the only time I've seen him with the new tweaked form is when he was at his pro day. But I do think that once he starts showing in the game setting, like, and if it's showing, like, improvement, like legit improvement as a shooter with this new form in a, like, actual game setting, I will be very encouraged by him developing into a good shooter. And I think that there are more signs that he could develop into a good shooter than he probably, again, does get credit for. But other than that, again, like, why I think he is one of the better players in the draft is simple. I think that his skills that he does have are things that you really can't teach. His intangibles are things that you can't teach. And I think that one of the two big weaknesses that he has is something that's very improvable and already has shown encouraging signs. Again, the height is going to be a problem no matter what, which is why I understand, despite the fact that I have him, like, number 7 on my board, like, I expect him probably to go outside the top 10. I would take him in the top 10 easily. Like, I would feel very comfortable taking the top 10. Even top 5, depending on what team's picking. But I understand why most people believe he won't go in the top 10. And even when you look at the teams available, like, they're picking, like, I definitely think there's like almost like a 90+% chance that he doesn't go in the top 10. There is a chance he goes top 10, but I don't know. I really still do like him a lot. I know you can look at the fact that he had a bad assist-to-turnover ratio. He had a 1.94 assist-to-turnover ratio. Again, you really can't use assist-to-turnover ratio to prove ability as a passing, because of the fact that assist-to-turnover ratio factors in assists, which are a passing stat, and turnovers, which only 33.3% of the time, based off, like, the type of turnovers, are a factor. Like, there are passing turnovers, obviously, that factor into passing, but there's also handle turnovers, and there are also offensive fouls, things like that. So there's more to it, so, like, it's not a complete indicator. He did make some interesting decisions as a passer, I would say. Part of me wonders if it's like he saw something that was open, but he probably just wasn't in position to make the pass. He is shorter. I think that, you know, there are limitations there that maybe you can't see over some players, things like that. But again, I don't think that's a take away from it, just how gifted of a passer he is. He is one of the best passers in this draft. He's up there with Cade Cunningham and Josh Giddey, who are also two players that are, like, almost 10 inches taller than him. So I think that the combination of his passing skills on top of what he has with his scoring on offense, I think that should be encouraging. Like, I know he's not a great shooter, but he gets to the line at an absurd rate for someone that was 6'1". 8.6 free throw attempts per game as a 6'1", 180-pound point guard in the SEC is insane. Having a .56 free throw attempt rate. I almost say assist to turnover ratio, but 0.56 free throw attempt rate is really good. 9.3 free throw attempts per 36 is really good for somebody that small. He had 21 free throw attempts in a game. In a game he only played 28 minutes in. That's absurd for somebody that small. And we all know how great of a passer he is. He's somebody that's going to get his teammates better. And I think he has more scoring potential than given credit for. Will it be tough playing against the best athletes in the world in the NBA? Yeah, it will be. I don't expect him to put up big scoring numbers as a rookie. Like, I wouldn't be shocked at all if he averaged less than 10 points per game as a rookie. I'll be quite honest with you. But I think people are overthinking this. Does he have flaws? Yes. Is he small? Yes. Is he an inconsistent shooter? Yes. But at the end of the day, that doesn't take away from the handle he has, the passing playmaking he has, the vision, feel for the game, all of that. His ability to control an offense, run an offense, his ability to manipulate defenses, his quickness. I don't think that's a takeaway from that. I would rank Sharife Cooper towards the top of this draft, which I do, right? Again, at number 7. I think he's closer to guys like Josh Giddey and Jalen Suggs than he probably gets credit for. That's going to sound like a controversial take, but I think he's close to those guys. I really do think he is. And, for me, like, I could say, be safe about this and, rank him lower. But I will rank him high. If I'm wrong about this, I'm wrong about this. But I'm not going against my gut feeling about Sharife Cooper as a prospect. Because in my opinion, Sharife Cooper is somebody that will probably end up falling in the draft. Late lottery, mid-first round, maybe even further than that. But don't look at me if he ends up being somebody that is really good in his rookie year and really good in his NBA career. And don't look at me and ask, how did he fall this far? Because I tried to tell you guys, that's basically what I'm trying to say. Don't overthink this. This is an obvious talent, and I think you're putting too much stock into his weaknesses if you have him ranked outside of, like, the top 15.